Hey y'all, so today we're going to be making some mayonnaise. Now, this is not the mayonnaise that you're buying at the store. We're not talking about a Hellman's, we're not talking about a Duke's. We are making real mayonnaise. The mayonnaise at the store, for the most part, is actually hydrogenated oil, which is a very fancy way of saying oil they made thick. True mayonnaise is made by combining oil and an egg in order to the chemistry works so that the egg will bind to the oil and thicken up. This is the kind of mayonnaise that you'd see in like a high-end quality restaurant or something along those lines. So, a lot of this you can really tweak the ratios to make the food exactly the way you want to, but there are two things about this that are there are basically four ingredients that absolutely have to be in there. The first is your egg. So we're going to start with one egg. It's going to become apparent why I'm doing this in a wide mouth mason jar here in just a second. So we have our egg. We have salt. Now, it's not a ton of salt, and honestly, we're probably going to be tasting it at the end here and adding some more salt. But we're going to start with that much. Finally, you need an acid. The acid is not particularly important, but for this case, we're going to be making something that's like a Big Mac sauce, and it's going to taste basically like Thousand Island dressing by the time, which, by the way, that's basically what Big Mac sauce is Thousand Island dressing. So, you need an acid. White vinegar, cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, lemon juice, lime juice. These are all valid acids. They will all work the same. But you do need some acid in there, both for two reasons. Number one, this is a raw egg product. It will go bad. I suggest making as much as you will need for 3 or 4 days at a time. I have had it for longer. I have had no issues with food safety or anything like that. Keeping it in the fridge, of course. But I will say that this gets used up very quickly in our household. So, the acid we're choosing today is balsamic vinegar. This and one other ingredient is the key to making basically a Thousand Island dressing or Big Mac sauce. So, just standard balsamic vinegar. And we're going to add some balsamic vinegar here. Nope, we're not really even measuring. A lot of these ratios, it's more important that it's there than that the ratio is exactly what you need. Now, we're going to add garlic powder. And this is the ingredient that really makes the difference. The combination of balsamic vinegar and smoked paprika. This is what gives us that Big Mac sauce, Thousand Island dressing flavor. I don't know what it is, but those two flavors combined make for a very, very tasty combination. Last thing we're going to be adding in terms of our spices for this, cayenne pepper. Use a little unless you like spicy things. I am personally I added a little bit of cayenne pepper to every single time I make mayonnaise, even if I'm not going for spicy, because it seems to act as a flavor enhancer. So even if I'm doing like a rosemary, garlic, and thyme for something that's going to be tasty to dip chicken in or to use on a chicken sandwich, I am going to still add a little bit of cayenne pepper, about this much. This is really just a very small, very, very small amount. Probably 1/16 of a teaspoon if you're going to actually measure it. This is about how much we're add for this. Probably 1/8 of a teaspoon or so. And we're going to add that. That's going to give it a little bit of a kick, but it's not going to be bad. Now, the one other thing that really matters quite a bit is our oil to egg ratio. With mayonnaise, you need 1 cup of oil per egg. Now that oil, there's a number of different oils that can work. all of the oils I showed you in my video where I talked about different types of cooking oils will actually work for this. Coconut oil technically works, but because of the way that coconut oil becomes hard below, I think it's about 75 degrees, coconut oil is not suitable for this. Otherwise you'll have chunky mayonnaise. It's just not a good state. But for this one, we're going to be using rice bran oil. It is a very neutral flavored oil. Technically a canola oil will work or something like that, but we're trying to up level our nutrition here. So we're not going to use a basic cooking oil, canola oil, or olive oil, canola oil blend. So we're going to use rice bran oil. This is an immersion blender. The reason we use the wide mouth jar is because I can put it in here like this. And this will save us a intermediate cleanup step, so that we'll just start our mayonnaise in the same container we're going to use to store it. All right, so we just start adding oil. Now, as you can see, we're starting to get a thickening now. This is the egg yolk reacting to the oil being emulsified into it and thickening up. We're about halfway there now. And as you can see, we're adding a little bit of oil at a time and then getting it all blended in. The point at which I personally see it as done, and we're there right now, is when you pull the immersion blender blade out and you can see that peaks are still formed in the mayonnaise. This is kind of similar to if you've ever whipped egg whites for really any recipe, pancakes, for waffles, for angel food cake. It is very similar. So you can see, I mean, it's sticking straight out from our immersion blender there. So we'll be grabbing a spatula here in just a second to put it in. Now, this is very, very tasty. Tasting a little bit, we were able to hit it right on the money for the salt on that one. It's not uncommon for me to add a little bit more spice, a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper into this at the end. Your standard mayonnaise, like a Hellmann's or a Duke's, if that, or a Miracle Whip, if that is your goal, then you will want to use a neutral flavored oil, a neutral flavored vinegar, like a white vinegar, and you will also need to add a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of mustard powder. Adjust the ratios to make what you desire. This is a small batch size, and really the cost is very low. We're talking about if you were using olive oil, you can get a 2-quart thing of olive oil for about $12 to $14. And 2 quarts is going to give you 8 cups of oil. So we have maybe $1, let's see, that would be about $1.50 worth of oil, 1 egg, which at this time, a dozen eggs, good quality eggs, runs me about $4. Chances are you can find someone in your area who's got chickens who has eggs they can sell. And that's my suggestion to you. The fresher the eggs, the better for making mayonnaise. And there's a lot of steps between when an egg is laid and when it reaches your kitchen, when you're talking about an egg that you get from the grocery store. You can find someone local, if you're willing to do the work and actually ask around. Besides that, this is basically how you make mayonnaise. A couple of other options. If you've ever had sushi and the sushi has a small dab of mayonnaise on top, you can make a mayonnaise like that by omitting the salt and instead replacing that with soy sauce with a about a teaspoon to a tablespoon, somewhere in, really 1 to 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, and using sesame oil. That will give you a sesame flavored uh, mayonnaise that works really, really well for a for putting on top of a sushi that you can make at home. Or another option would be you can look at a for chicken, for like a chicken salad sandwich, or for uh, just even just to put on a sandwich and have some sliced chicken breast. You can take using an olive oil, rosemary, garlic, thyme, parsley, and sage. You know, the whole Rodgers and Hammerstein parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme. Do that in with some garlic, and that is a excellent flavor for adding to chicken sandwiches, chicken salad. Um, you can also, if you do a more neutral mayonnaise where you don't add spices or don't add a lot of spices, then you can also use it very well in a tuna salad or something like that. This is just a very, very cheap and extremely healthy way to help remove condiments, which, price per ounce, condiments are one of the more expensive things we buy from the store. And this can completely remove those. Remove the high fructose corn syrup, remove the fake colorings, remove the preservatives from your diet, and this is luxurious. I have spent more time in this video telling you about this than I actually spent making it. And this is a luxury that you can have for yourself. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to be using this for dipping my french fries in, and in our household, we've basically removed almost all other condiments besides mustard, and we just use mustard and mayonnaise that we make, and we flavor it according to the application. We do still buy ketchup because my kids really love ketchup, but me personally, I will just use a mayonnaise, and that's what I'll be dipping my french fries in, or anything like that. I hope that this has blessed you, and that we can it shows you the possibility of what you can do to not just eat healthier, but improve your lifestyle, make it cheaper for you, and eat healthier, and really enjoy what you're doing. Thank you for your time, and I hope this has blessed you today. Cheers.